Hey guys, I'm going to go over some fraction practice. Okay, so I'm going to go over the first four problems. So we've got 1/4 plus 4/7. Now we need a common denominator between 4 and 7, and we can do that by multiplying them together. And so one common denominator will be 28, which is 4 times 7. Now we're going to be adding these fractions. The 4 was increased times 7. So then I know that the 1 must also be increased times 7. So 1 times 7 will be 7. And now the 7 here was increased by a different amount. It was increased by 4. And so the 4 must also be increased 4 times. So this is going to be 16. Now when I add these together, I don't need to add the denominator, so I'll just leave that as 28. And then 7 plus 16 is going to be 23 over 28. For problem 2, you could just you could leave out the 1 until the very end and then add the fractions. And I think that's a pretty smart thing to do. Or what you could do is turn this into an improper fraction and then add the improper fraction and the normal fraction. So you could do that as well. And I'm just going to do it that way. So to turn this into an improper, I'm going to multiply the 1 times 5 and then add it to the 9. So 1 times 5 is 5. And then add it to the 4 will be 9. So we'll have 9/5 plus 1/3. Okay, now I need a common denominator. So if I multiply the 5 and the 3, I'm going to get 15. So the common denominator is going to be 15. The 5 was increased by 3, so the 9 must also be increased by 3. And then the 3 here was increased by 5, so then the 1 also must be increased 5 times. I'm sorry, so the 1 will be increased 5 times, and the 9 will be increased 3 times, so 27. Now adding these fractions here, we're going to have the denominator is 15, and 27 plus 5 is going to be 32. Now this is my answer, but if I'd like to turn it into a mixed number, 15 goes into 32 2 times, and the remainder is 2 over 15. 2 over 15. Just how I got that 2, I'll show you up here. So 15 goes into 32 2 times, and 15 times 2 is 30. Then subtract will give me 2. So 2 with a remainder of 2. So 2 with a remainder of 2 over 15. Okay. Next one now. 3 1/5 minus 2/3. Okay, so let's turn this into an improper fraction. And then let's subtract the 2/3. So multiply the 3 times 5, and then add it to the 1. 3 times 5 is 15, and then I'll add it to the 1, so that's going to be 16 over 5 minus 2/3. Okay, so I need a common denominator. 5 times 3 is going to be 15. That will be my common denominator. The 5 is increased by 3, so then the 16 must also be increased by 3, which is going to give me 48. The 3 was increased by 5, so the 2 must also be increased 5 times, which will be 10. And now once I subtract those, I'll have 38 over 15. That's the 48 minus 10. And as an improper fraction, it's going to be 2 and 8/15. Once again, that division, showing that division up here. 15 goes into 38 2 times. 15 times 2 is 30. Subtract, so it's 2 with a remainder of 8. Okay, next one, problem 4. I'll turn this one into a mixed number. 2 times 5 is 10, then added to the 2, so it's going to be 12 over 5 plus 11 over 7. I actually want to make sure that this video is not too long. I'm going to stop I'm going to give you half of it will have the common denominators. It's going to be 35. And then the 7 is increasing 5 times. The 11 also must be increasing 5 times. We'll have 55. 5 is increasing times 7, so the 12 also must be increasing by 7, which is going to be 84. And I'll leave it right there. You can add and then turn it into a mixed number. Okay, I'm going to go over 16 and 19 now. These are some of the more difficult multiplying and dividing. So the question is what to do with this negative here. We're gonna turn this into an improper fraction and then attach the negative on at the end. 2 times 8 is 16 plus 1 is 17 over 8, and then I'll attach the negative. Divided by 1 over 3. Now my dividing rule, I'm going to flip the second fraction and multiply straight across. So I'll have negative 17 over 24. And there's my answer. Multiplying and dividing is much easier than adding or subtracting when we're dealing with fractions. Okay, multiplying here, we need to turn this into an improper fraction. 1 times 3, and then add was 3, and then add to the 2. So I have 5 over 3 times negative 5 over 6. Now, one thing you may notice is I always like to attach that negative to the numerator. I think it makes it a little bit easier. 5 times negative 5 is going to be negative 25 over 18. Now 18 will go into 25. Actually, it's negative 25. Negative 1 time with a remainder of 7 over, and then 7, 8 over 18. All right, there are your answers. Good luck, and thank you for watching.